Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. What's up, sir? It's good to see you.
Good morning.
Rick Geha coming out to Temecula. Nobody even knows it yet.
I'm excited.
Nobody even knows how good of a time that they're getting ready to have. But I knew the moment I met you that this was a man love. This might be man love. I've got a man crush on you.
Dude, I love you, man. I want to have that album. Can I buy that?
Man up.
Can I buy that on Spotify or iTunes?
Brother, you can have it for free on SoundCloud right now, and it will be out soon on iTunes and Spotify. We've got lots of great concerts coming up and cool stuff like that. But right now, brother, we're talking about you, handsome. You're coming out to Temecula. I appreciate you traveling out here to come see everybody. Not like David Golden and me and all these people that are, heavily involved in the industry. We all assume that everybody knows who you are. David Golden says, "Oh, if Rick, you just put his name on a flyer, everybody's going to show up."
Not true.
Let everybody know, and you're a humble man. You're a good dude. The first time that we met each other, we were crying and looking at each other in the eyes and touching up our mascara. We were falling in love with each other immediately. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what it is that you love to do.
All right. Well, my name's Rick Geha. I'm born and raised and still live in Northern California. I'm from a town called Fremont. It's famous for building the Tesla right now. And that's where my office is. I live in a town called Pleasant Hill, which is in the Northeast Bay, about 35 minutes from San Francisco and 35 minutes from Napa. So I call it heaven. I've been in real estate.
My old stomping grounds up there in NorCal.
Yeah. I've been in real estate for a little over 38 years. I still sell real estate for a living. I'm also a coach and a speaker and a trainer. I started speaking and coaching about 25 years ago. I did spend 14 years with Keller Williams Realty, where I owned as many as 7 Keller Williams offices. And I traveled the United States and Canada for Keller Williams speaking and teaching. And that's where I kind of got a lot of my first growth into the speaking and the motivational world. So I joined eXp Realty about 19 months ago because Keller Williams and I had some disagreements about where I was allowed to speak and train. And I just wanted to speak and train to whoever would have me rather than just certain companies. So a lot of my friends are still there, but I'm just moving on with my life and loving what I'm doing. I'm a newlywed, been married about 3.5 years. And
my brother, and your wife is wonderful.
Thank you.
She's absolutely wonderful. I was sitting down, I met her separately than when I met you, and I had the same emotional experience. She's just wonderful.
She's coming with me too, so she'll be out there in Temecula with me. So
she's a little bit more practical than you are, though. She kind of balances you out.
She's the high D. I'm the high I, right? She is very successful in her business. She also does a lot of coaching and speaking. So, we work well together. So, yeah.
So you said that you own 7 KW offs.
At one point.
That you were speaking all over. I'm sorry.
All over U.S. and Canada. Yeah, I was all over there.
Speaking all over the United States and Canada, and you said that you ended up leaving so that you could continue to train wherever it is that you wanted to train.
Right. It was really a matter of they didn't want me really speaking or training to other real estate companies, and I wanted to speak and train to whoever. And it's really, I always say that miracles start with pain. So when I first got the letter about that, I literally was crumpled up into the fetal position, basically crying, almost with my thumb in my mouth. And you
first got the letter about
from Keller Williams saying that you have to cease and desist on speaking to other real estate companies. And, and then that pain turned into what is today a miraculous life where I'm traveling, speaking, coaching, meeting people like you. You are the same age as my older son. And, I feel so close to you, and I barely really know you, but I know all that you've done. You've, anybody that's given of their body and life to service to the country for my freedoms, I love them like they're my own kids. So I appreciate that more than I can tell you.
I love you for that. And it was such a cool experience meeting you when I met you in Vegas, and you looked me in the eyes and you told me, you said, if there's anything that you need, let me know. I'll drive out to Temecula and I'll come and I'll speak with everybody. You have the heart of a trainer. You have the heart of a giver. You're somebody like me who just genuinely wants to help people out. And so you're able to do that now. And tell me in your message, I got a chance to hear it again in Arizona. And brother, it's different than what a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people in real estate talk about money, and they talk about how to make the most money and how to get one over and how to and how to all these different things. When you talk, you really speak from the heart. You're like me, like in that you speak from the heart, and you're just much more polished, and you've got more wisdom, and you've got. I don't know what I don't know until I realize I don't know it. And when I get around you, I'm like, there's a whole lot I don't know. So tell me about what it is. What is your message that you're spreading out there into the world, my brother?
Thank you, David. I'm twice your age, so my dad used to say if you met somebody who was a day older than you, they have a day's more wisdom than you. And I just say that I basically speak from the experiences. I always say that people don't want to hear as much about my successes as they want to hear about my failures and how I overcame them, because that's where people learn. So I feel like if I'm completely authentic and vulnerable in front of everybody I'm talking to, tell the truth. I tell people all the time, I go, look, if you meet somebody who's been in real estate for 38 years and they're still in real estate selling houses, you know something went horribly wrong along the way, because there's no world they'd still be selling real estate. I had a lady tell me, well, you must be rich. I goes, now seriously, I want you to think about this, ma'am. If you knew that somebody was super rich, do you think they would wake up in the morning dying to put a buyer in their car and show them houses? That's not what rich people do. They don't wake up dreaming about driving a buyer around. I said,
and the thing is we're not looking down on that. You and I both got where we are currently from starting in places like that.
Yes.
But the thing is it's about learning that next step. It's about leveling up that peer group to learn what you don't know. And so what are some of these things that you're telling people to get from that position of being somebody who's showing buyers and in that mindset to somebody who's wealth building? What's the mind shift? What happened for you? I mean, if we're really talking about your story, what was the shift in your story?
Well, the thing that I tell is I've had many years in my career where I've done over $1 million in commission in 1 year. And if you ask me where that money is, I don't know, but I do remember making it. And so what I teach people is, look, the difference between the people I coach that are at the highest level and the people that are at the lowest level in terms of production, there's only one difference. And it's not about what color they are or how tall they are or what they look like or whether they're male or female. It really ends up boiling down to one thing, and that's the activities you focus on in a day. And you'd like to say that's really simple. If you focus on these activities, you'll succeed. But if you don't have a mindset that opens you up to success, that if you're not in control of what you're thinking and the way you're feeling about things in general, then it's going to lead to disaster. And I always say that, the old saying, it's very old, it's be, do, have. And there's so much strength in understanding be, do, have at the right, at a very conscious level. Because I remember seeing my first magazine with Richard Branson on it when I was in a doctor's office at about 22 years old. And I always thought it was have, do, be. If I could have what he had, I could do the things he was doing and become the man he is. And that's the exact opposite of how it works in life. Have, do, be is how people dream about, well, they're lucky. They got this way because they were lucky. And if I had what they had. But if you start to under be, do, have, you realize that if I can imagine myself having all of the dreams in the world, how would I be being? How would I be acting? How would I show up? And I'm almost 61 years old. In a few weeks, I'll be 61. And I currently, at this stage of my life, don't own a property. Yet I don't walk around like a guy who doesn't own property. I walk around like a guy who owns lots of property and has lots of money because of my mindset. And I know that will all show up in my life because I'm always being as if I already have it.
And you're not somebody who didn't build the wealth. You're not somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. You're somebody who owns 7 KW offices, was speaking. You were the most requested KW speaker in the country. You were flying all over the place. And then you step back, you look at EXP and you look at a different shift. But we're not talking about EXP right now. We're talking about the message, because the message is what's important. The message is really what's important. And I love the be, do, have mindset. Being who you are, treating yourself. I always say treat yourself the way that you want the world to treat you. Treat yourself that way.
David, most people are saying the golden rule, do unto others as you'd like to have done unto you. But the bottom line is what you just said is absolutely freaking brilliant coming out of the mouth of a 32-year-old, which is that you have to treat yourself that way. I talk to people all the time about the things that they are saying to themselves they would literally beat someone else up if those people were telling them those things. But they'll say it to themselves all the time. They'll go to bed looking at themselves and saying, gosh, you didn't do anything you told yourself. You're a loser. And what we find, and this is the main message, is that most people are building up evidence by finding stacks of evidence that they suck. And I want to show people how to build evidence, stacks of it, that's bigger than the stacks, that you're amazing. And
I love you, brother.
So,
I love you for that. The mind shift is totally different. People start thinking about rich people, and they think about rich people all the time. And I tell them, I learned this in the 4-hour work week. And I said, what do rich people have that you don't have? What do they do in the morning that you're not doing? What is their mindset? Start doing that now. Start living that way now. If you live as a slave, if you act as a slave, you will always be a slave. You have to start freeing yourself of these handcuffs now so that you're not looking back in 40, 50 years wondering where your life went. You get to leave 2 things behind. 2 things only. 2 things. Your reputation and the way that your family remembers you. And if you taint either one of those things, that's it. You could have all the zeros in the bank in the world, but you have a reputation and the way that your family remembers you.
Can I add one more thing to that? Because that's so
Hit
brilliant.
me with it.
Is that there's many people that will watch this or talk to you, and all of those, they'll hear little bits of this and they'll listen to that and they'll say, that's so good, your reputation and how your family remembers you. Those are really big things. But there's people who have made mistakes in their life. I'm one of them, lots of them. And at 50 years old, I looked at myself almost 11 years ago and I said, man, I am not where, it's actually a little over 10 years ago. I was almost 51. And I thought, gosh, I do not want to die today and be the guy that this was the example I left to my sons and have this is the legacy I left and the way that my family remembers me based on all of these mistakes I made, adult mistakes. And, you know, my 60th birthday was last year and my son stepped up. It was unannounced. The microphone was being passed around and both of my sons made these incredible speeches about me and how they felt about me. And it was living proof. I was bawling my eyes out. They were crying when delivering the speech that I had, in the 10 years, been able to rectify or become the man I dream of becoming by working on me, such that if I had died 10 minutes after that speech, I would have died a very happy man, knowing that I had been able to make things up by stepping into the power I have, becoming the man I know I could become, and leaving an example and a legacy. In that moment, my reputation and the way my family remembered me, I was all good to go. Brother,
that was beautiful. The thing is like, you don't have to wait for tomorrow to be the man that you want to be today.
Absolutely.
You don't have to wait for tomorrow. You don't have to wait for somebody's permission to make that mind shift. The thing is, we build up these false lives, and they're built on the expectations of our peer groups. They're built on the expectations of ourselves, and we drive ourselves with these whips.
Yeah.
And I would never let anyone talk to me the way that I have talked to me. So when you start shifting that story, when you start saying, I am good, I am lovable, I am doing good things, and instead of looking at 10-year goals, which are so hard to affect, and instead of looking at 5-year goals, which are so hard to affect, taking a moment and saying, what can I do today that will make me proud of the man that I will be at the end of the day? What can I do right now that will make it so that I'm looking at that man in the mirror at the end of the day and I'm proud of the things that I did today? Can't change tomorrow. Tomorrow will never come. We can't change the past. That already happened. But if we could take extreme ownership of the present, you know, that's where happiness, that's where joy, that's where, you know, growth comes in.
I love hearing that. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's still a daily work. It's daily work. It's every day you wake up and say, how can I be the best me possible today? And what lives can I change along the way? So.
Yeah, brother. So can you give us a little bit of a taste of what you're going to be talking about in Temecula specifically?
Sure. If you can help remind me, because I know I'm hitting a lot of cities. Am I doing Finish Strong?
We're doing Finish Strong in 2018. You're going to be joined by Darren Campbell, the $4 billion man. But you're the headliner, my good friend. And people are coming to see you. They're coming to see Darren. People are not coming so much to see me, so I'm going to keep it quick. So let people know what the message is going to be on Wednesday.
Finish Strong is one of my favorite subjects in real estate because usually when we get to June, July, and August, some of us, most people in real estate have experienced some success in the year. It may have been the first quarter, the second quarter, last month. They experience these successes. But when we start looking towards the end of the year, it would be ideal if everybody could look at every month as just another month instead of what month is it in the year and where does it play in terms of cycles and people's kids going back to school. And if we could block all of that out and remember that it goes back to our activities and the mindset that we set for ourselves every day, we could end up doing as much business between now and August and December 31st as we did the whole year combined. And I can tell you that actually depends on us looking at our business today and saying, what are the things that I know to do that will change the outcome of my business by December 31st that I'm not currently doing? A good example, go ahead.
I love it. I love it. It's like action items. The thing is that what drives me so nuts is people come to these conferences and they don't get any value. They just get told to buy more crap. And you're saying, what can you do to make it so that in the last 5 months of this year, you beat your productivity or lack of productivity in the beginning of this year?
Yeah. And really, David, anybody, if you're brand new in real estate or if you're, super experienced, that lead generation, the least two favorite 2 words in real estate, are a very basic key. But most people don't tell their families, don't tell their kids that the main thing that they have to do when they go to work today is not sell or list a house. It's to get a lead. It's to get a freaking lead. And if they would be more honest with their family, I know people have been in real estate 20 years and I go and talk to their spouse and I'll say, hey, Tom, Mary's been in real estate for 20 years now. Do you know what she does when she goes to the office? He goes, she sells houses. I go, no. Do you know what her main job is? No one knows. The main job is to get a freaking lead. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
If you run out of leads, you're out of business. So
we forget that.
Exactly. And then you go, doesn't matter how long that getting leads is part of the business. And you say, oh, I learned all this in the last seminar I went to. I go, well, how much of that do you do every day? If you could just do one thing every day, spend 30 minutes to an hour talking to people who might want to buy, sell, or list a house. I mean, it's crazy, but
one takeaway. You know what I mean? That's why I always tell people one takeaway. And when I was speaking at NAREP in Long Beach earlier this week, which is why I was able to bring Darren Campbell out for next week or this week coming up. I told everyone, I said, I will tell you everything I know because there's one person in this room that will do it. And that's a person that I'm speaking to. And most of the time I tell people, they say, what can I do to become successful tomorrow? And I say, open houses. And they look at me and they say, what else? And I said, they're open houses. If you learn how to properly work an open house, I opened 7 escrows in my first month in real estate working open houses. You really don't need anything else. So if you had to tell somebody one action item to start making money tomorrow in real estate, and then we'll wrap this up. What's your one takeaway?
I'm like you. I love open houses, but the other main takeaway I go is when was the last time you talked to people and you didn't say, do you want to buy or sell real estate? You just called them, people that you haven't talked to in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and say, hey, my bad, I haven't reached out to you. I'm just calling back to see if we can get reconnected, see what's going on in your life. If you make 30 of those phone calls and connect with 6 people in those, you'll get 2 appointments every time. It never fails. And
if you do it without commission breath, you'll do so much better. Like my favorite book of all time is How to Win Friends and Influence People, because it was written with a genuine, honest guide for people to understand how to help people. It's really just. So that's one of the reasons why I do all these festivals and I put on all these events is I just love helping people. So that when I call people and I get on the phones, I say, hey, I've got this going on. Or, hey, I've got this going on. Do you want to come out and do this? Or, here, this is what I've got going on to help you. And then people are a little bit more interested in helping you out.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I'm going to see you on Wednesday. Are you driving or flying?
No, we're flying down tomorrow night. Rosie will pick us up, and then we'll see you on Wednesday morning. So
cool, brother. Wednesday morning, 8 bright and early. You'll probably be there 30 minutes early. I'll be there straggling in a couple of minutes late.
I'll text my Starbucks order, man.
You got it, brother. I'll make sure. I've got the new app now to where Kate does. She's got it all set up so that she can order it, and then it's all at the counter. So we'll get you all set up, handsome. I'm looking forward to giving you a big bearded hug.
Yes, I can't wait to see you, brother. Thank you so much.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
All right. Take care.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to watch it from the beginning. We talked about a lot of great things. Rick is going to be here in Temecula on Wednesday at 8:30 at SRCAR. He's coming out. He's with EXP. We've got Darren Campbell, who's with Berkshire Hathaway. It's going to be a whole great group of people. And, of course, David Golden. So it's going to be a good group. I'm excited I could not have assimilated a better group. I'm excited about it. Love you, handsome. I'll see you on Wednesday. Goodbye, everybody.